very good evening to you from wherever you are joining us. It's good to be back on your screen on this Wednesday, the 24th day of November 2021. I'm Tess Njenga and my sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Let us get you briefed on the day's stories. I beg your pardon, the 7th annual Devolution Conference officially kicked off today in Makueni County. This year's summit is themed multi-level governance for climate action and seeks to cascade the climate change interventions to the grassroots and enable county governments to demonstrate bold climate leadership. As Kennedy Kimani now reports, President Uhuru Kenyatta, who officially opened the three-day conference, said Kenya will continue with its efforts to reduce the negative impacts of climate change.
Globally, Kenya is ranked as the 31st most vulnerable country to climate change, with the impacts of it leading to a loss of about 3% of the gross domestic product annually. This is one of the reasons that led to this year's annual Devolution Conference, focusing more on climate action to help reduce the negative impacts of climate change in the country. As he virtually officially opened the conference in Makueni, President Uhuru Kenyatta said that the national government has adopted a comprehensive set of policies, rules and procedures to address climate change.
I am delighted to note that the conference theme focuses on climate change. Specifically, the multi-level governance for climate change. And I further note that the aim is to strengthen subnational governments for them to act on climate change through development of a more robust and focused execution of mitigation and adaptation strategies.
Uhuru added that both the national and county governments will continue working together through the support of the National Climate Change Council to achieve the 10% forest cover and protect our water towers and wetlands.
One of the key deliverables in the action plan is to increase our forest cover. This is in line with the Constitution and with respect to maintaining a clean and healthy environment for all. Action in this regard has already been taken, and within the very near future, we shall be launching our forestry action plan that shall reveal and discuss the issues and what we have been able to achieve in this regard over the last 8 years.
Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has proposed the creation of a National Climate Council to lead climate action at the national level, saying that the council will be pivotal in helping address climate-related challenges in the country. While speaking during the conference, the Council of Governors Chair Martin Wambora said that the Senate needs to consider climate change when it is negotiating for the county's share of revenue, adding that the county government should also become innovative in tackling the effects of climate change. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch.
Thank you, Kennedy, for that report. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta is on Tuesday next week, that is November 30th, expected to deliver the State of the Nation address during a joint sitting of Parliament. The address comes the same day that the ruling Jubilee Party under President Kenyatta's leadership was scheduled to conduct its National Delegates Conference NDC from the Kasarani Stadium in Nairobi. President Kenyatta is said to have cancelled the Jubilee NDC, but there was no reason given. The conference would see Rebel Party members, including Deputy President William Ruto, kicked out, as Dickens Luvanda reports.
It has now been revealed that President Uhuru Kenyatta will deliver a State of the Nation address on Tuesday, November 30th, the same day he was expected to lead the ruling Jubilee Party National Delegates Conference NDC at the Moi Sports Complex Kasarani in Nairobi County.
Honourable members.
According to the National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi, the President will address a joint sitting of both National and Senate Assemblies at Parliament buildings from 2:30 p.m.
I wish to inform the House that I have received a message from His Excellency the President dated 19th of November 2021 conveying that he intends to deliver the 2021 State of the Nation address to Parliament pursuant to Article 132, Clause 1 of the Constitution. Honourable members, they said Article 132, Clause 1, paragraphs B and C of the Constitution state, and I quote, "The President shall be address a special sitting of Parliament once every year and may address Parliament at any other time."
The President,
Following the country's first general election under the new constitution,
during the address, is expected to take stock of his administration's milestones, as well as state his plan for his final year in office ahead of the August 2022 general election.
I wish to notify all members that a special joint sitting of Parliament will take place on Tuesday, 30th of November 2021 at 2:30 p.m. in the National Assembly main chamber, Parliament buildings.
MPs are said to go for their long recess on December 2nd, hence the plan for the address to take place on Tuesday and not the traditional Thursdays. President Kenyatta, who is also the Jubilee Party leader, cancelled the Jubilee NDC meeting that was scheduled on Tuesday, November 30th, as announced by the party Secretary General Raphael Tuju, but no reason was outlined. Pundits, however, claimed that the president cancelled the NDC over several issues, including the consequences of kicking his deputy William Ruto out of government, over reasons that such a move will give DP Ruto a political lifeline.
We are preparing for our national delegates conference.
The NDC will have seen many of the Jubilee Party rebels, who are now linked to DP Ruto's UDA party, shown the door.
We know we had 11 parties that came together. We know the party that has exited Jubilee is URP. So we are going back to TNA and the other friendly parties who will remain in Jubilee. So we are going to rebrand and relaunch Jubilee this month. We are going to come with a very, very aggressive campaign.
According to the ODM party leader Raila Odinga, the postponement of the Jubilee NDC will not affect the political pact between ODM and Jubilee parties. The ODM party is scheduled to hold its conference on December 9th.
So what we are doing on the 9th of December is basically first to respond to what we have seen around the country as we are making consultation with the people. And then those who are going to come there are going to be delegates, people, not necessarily just members of ODM only.
Also, political party primary elections are slated for April 2022. Deacon Sylvanda, Hope TV News.
Much appreciated, Deacons, for that report. Moving on, development of a robust railway system is the best way to fast-track the integration of the African continent by facilitating the movement of people, goods, and services at affordable costs. This is according to President Uhuru Kenyatta, who spoke on his final day of his 3-day state visit to South Africa while he toured Transnet Engineering Company, a state-owned South African manufacturer of railway components. Grace Wangoi has more on Uhuru's tour of South Africa.
President Uhuru Kenyatta concluded his 3-day state visit in South Africa by making a stop at the Transnet Engineering Company, which is a state-owned South African manufacturer of railway components, including freight wagons, locomotives, and passenger coaches. President Uhuru expressed Kenya's readiness to diversify its partnerships in the ongoing revival and upgrading of the country's railway system, adding that Kenya Railways was open to partner with the engineering company in the ongoing revamp of the country's railway infrastructure.
Today we're here visiting Transnet to see how we can deepen their partnership with Kenya Railways and also with other railway systems and companies in our part of the world, so that we can share technical input, we can share engineering expertise, we can share how to link our respective rails together, how to manage our respective rail systems together. All this again aimed at trying to facilitate the movement of goods between our two countries.
President Kenyatta, who was accompanied by Transport CS James Macharia, South African Public Enterprise Minister Pravin Gordhan, and Transnet Engineering CEO Ralph Mills, emphasized that the development of a robust railway system will help fast-track the integration of the African continent by facilitating the movement of people, goods and services at affordable costs.
The partnership must mean our ability to move goods and also services between our two countries, between our two regions. It should be easy enough for a small or medium enterprise based in Cape Town, Pretoria or Johannesburg to be able to move its products seamlessly to Kenya. And vice versa, it should be easy enough for a company based in Mombasa, Nairobi, Kisumu, to move goods to markets in Southern Africa.
Meanwhile, during a state banquet in honor of President Uhuru Kenyatta on Tuesday evening, South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa thanked Kenya for supporting his country's fight for freedom from apartheid. He pointed out that Kenyatta's state visit had enabled the two countries to renew political, economic and social cooperation, including establishing a firm foundation for greater collaboration between business communities of the two African economies.
Through this state visit, we've been able to pursue closer political, economic, and social cooperation and have established a firm foundation for greater collaboration between our two business communities. In this regard, I wish to thank the Kenyan business delegation, which participated in the business forum today, and I'm most pleased with the report on the outcomes of the deliberations. And it was a joy for you and I, Your Excellency, to watch our two business delegations from Kenya and South Africa at work.
Grace Wangoi for Hope TV News Watch.
Much appreciated, Grace. A section of politicians allied to Deputy President William Ruto have asked Chief Justice Martha Koome to protect the independence of the judiciary. The leaders who spoke in Nandi and Uasin Gishu counties when they accompanied Deputy President William Ruto today told the Chief Justice not to compromise on the independence of the judiciary by taking part in management of the country's elections. On his part, Ruto asked leaders to allow Kenyans to make independent choices in the 2022 elections without intimidations. Here's Alice Diana with that report.
With about 8 months remaining to the next general election, a section of leaders allied to Deputy President William Ruto have expressed concern that should the judiciary be part of elections management team, Kenyans will have nowhere to turn to in the event there are election disputes. Their concerns come just a month after the government formed a multi-agency forum with a special technical team chaired by Chief Justice Martha Koome that will guide electoral stakeholders on the roadmap leading to the 2022 general election. The forum, which first met on October 25, 2021, is expected to be meeting regularly to discuss on what is required for the country to hold a free, fair and credible election. Speaking in Nandi and Uasin Gishu counties when they accompanied Deputy President William Ruto on Wednesday, the leaders said the judiciary must be a neutral arbitrator of election disputes for aggrieved parties.
Mimi naambia Martha Koome, iko agenda ingine ambayo pengine wewe haujui. Keep off vitu ambavyo wewe haujui. Fuata vile katiba ya Kenya inasema ufanye. Kwa sababu kuna watu Kenya hii ambao huwa wakubali kwamba wameshindwa katika uchaguzi. Wameona kura ya kesho ikipigwa rais atakuwa William Ruto, wanaanza kutafuta vijisababu tena ya kukataa kura kwamba wameshindwa, waanze kuleta fujo na machafuko hapo. Now one of the items that they are going to cite is that the committee that was steering elections in this country was being chaired by the Chief Justice, who is supposed to be an arbiter in any electoral dispute that will be there.
The legislators, who said Justice Koome had no business engaging in election management with individuals who have already made their political stand known to Kenyans, urged her not to allow politicians to tarnish the reputation of the judiciary that had earned the trust of Kenyans.
Sasa wewe Martha Koome, wachana na mambo ya siasa. The only way that you can meddle in the elections of this country is when an election dispute is brought before you in the court, not to sit in any committee whose agenda is not in the constitution, whose agenda is not in any regulations of this country.
On his part, Deputy President William Ruto assured Kenyans that leaders will work together to ensure peaceful and democratic elections in 2022. He asked leaders to allow Kenyans to make independent choices in the 2022 elections without intimidations.
As the Deputy President of Kenya, I want to tell you that together with all other arms of government, we are going to make sure that this country stays peaceful, and no Kenyan should fear for the period we are in as we go towards the elections of next year. We will have a peaceful country, we will have a peaceful election period, and we will have a peaceful outcome.
Sisi tumeunda chama moja, chama cha kitaifa inaitwa UDA. Nyinyi mko hapo? Mimi nataka niwahakishie Kapsabet, huko kwetu mlimani. Huko kwetu wapi? Huko kwa mlima, mtu ambaye peke yake kati ya wale wanasimama rais anaweza kukwea mlima akisukuma wheelbarrow ni William Samoei.
The Deputy President said those in the Hustler Nation have an elaborate plan that will address the country's economic challenges, which have resulted to high unemployment rates, and urged Kenyans to shun tribal politics and work with other Kenyans to transform the country.
Kwa mapenzi ya Mungu, vile tulikuwa tumekubaliana na nyinyi, agenda yetu ya kwanza, priority number 1, ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba tunaweka pesa ya serikali bilioni 100 kwa mambo ya housing, agro processing, value addition, manufacturing, ili tupange ajira ya hawa vijana wa taifa letu la Kenya.
For Hope TV News Watch, I'm Alice Diana.
Thank you, Alice. Still on politics, Embu Senator Njeru Dwiga has raised concern over rising culture of political intolerance in the country amidst heightened political temperatures ahead of 2022 polls. He said if not tamed, the growing trend of political intolerance manifested in incitement to violence and use of abusive and foul language would plunge the country into chaos, and called on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, to crack the whip on perpetrators. Dwiga, who was speaking on Tuesday to the press, said hate politics and intolerance was not only retrogressive, but also a threat to the country's economy and peaceful coexistence among its population. He was responding to last week's chaos witnessed during DP Ruto's tour.
I am very concerned that we have some politicians who are using our youth. They're buying our youth drugs and alcohol to go and shout down their opponents. Now this is primitive. This is behavior which has been overtaken by time. You don't do that. You should be tolerant, and we're asking Kenyans to be tolerant. We want all Kenyans, those who want to vie for political positions. You go and meet people with your agenda. Go talk to people, talk to Kenyan citizens. Kenyan citizens of today are very enlightened. Go to them with your agenda and tell them what it is that you want to do for them. At a time when we want this country changing in another direction, this is not time for political intolerance.
Moving on, Kenya has today received a donation of 907,200 single-shot vaccines of Johnson & Johnson from Mastercard Foundation through the AVAT mechanism of the African Union. The afternoon In the afternoon, the country also received 7.5 million syringes of Pfizer vaccines. Between now and the end of December, the government expects 8 million more vaccines on top of the 10.7 million already received. The government is also procuring 13 million doses of Johnson & Johnson through the AVAT mechanism, and in early December expects another 1.6 million of Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The MOH therefore appeals to all eligible Kenyans to turn out as approved sites and get vaccines, as the 10 million target by the end of December is still on course.
We are now ready to achieve our targets. Anybody who needs a vaccine now can get vaccinated. Really now is for every Kenyan to show up at our vaccination posts and they get vaccinated. I wish to touch on the directives and requirements that were announced by the Cabinet Secretary over the weekend, and really say that those directives and requirements do not mean that vaccination is a mandate. The directive, however, are to ensure that the gains we have made in our fight against the corona pandemic in this country, we do not lose on them. The directives are also meant to make sure that we are better prepared for the next wave, so that we do not go back to the old days where we have to go back to lockdowns. We will prevent such a situation through all means. We will do everything possible. We cannot afford at all again to go back to lockdowns, which cause a lot of suffering to this country. So, the surest way to do that is to get as many people vaccinated as quickly as possible. And currently now we have enough vaccine doses.
And the Ministry of Health has recorded 35 new COVID-19 cases from a sample size of 4,246 tested in the last 24 hours. The positivity rate is now at 0.8%. Total confirmed positive cases are 254,816, while cumulative tests so far conducted are 2,811,260. 26 patients have recovered, and total recoveries now stand at 248,018. According to the ministry, 2 patients have succumbed to the disease, pushing cumulative fatalities to 5,332. As of yesterday, a total of 6,597,597 vaccines had so far been administered across the country. Of these, 4,087,317 were partially vaccinated, while those fully vaccinated were 2,510,280. The proportion of adults fully vaccinated is 9%. And on that note, let's take our first commercial break on Newswatch tonight. We have plenty more after the break.
Dad, gari mpya!
Umetoa wapi gari mpya?
Optiven wametusort.
Optiven?
Nunua any of our value-added properties ama redeem installment ya property yako. Kwa kila malipo ya 10,000 unapata 1 entry point kwenye draw ya furahia na Optiven promotion. Airtime kushindaniwa kila siku, holiday kila wiki, shinda ploti na gari kila mwezi, na grand prize ya Mercedes-Benz C180. Ni rahisi, buy ama redeem na ushinde na furahia na Optiven.
A very warm welcome back. Glad you're still with us. Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i today witnessed the installation of Principal Chief Wilson Mpapayo in Kisami's Kajiado County, Ilgaroj Village near PCEA Ilgaroj High School Entaret location. During the ceremony, the CS emphasized on the critical role of chiefs in maintaining and enforcing peace in the country as the 2022 elections drew closer. Also in attendance was Kajiado Governor Joseph Olelenku, who hailed Matiang'i's role in securing the country, and the Ministry of Environment and Forest CS Keriako Tobiko.
Tuko katika harakati ya kiangazi, na mimi ninajua kwamba County Commissioner na timu yake wamekueleza mambo ya njaa. Niseme tu tusaidie kusukuma ifanyike haraka kidogo, na tunafurahia kwamba kuna system sasa ya pesa ya kupeana chakula kwa walioathirika. Ndugu waziri, watu wako wanaumia njaa Kajiado, na kama gavana wao nataka hiyo ujumbe uipokee, na tukuombe utuangalie maneno haya, kwa sababu ng'ombe zimeathirika, ng'ombe zinakufa.
Leo tumekuja hapa kusherehekea ofisa wa serikali, kiongozi chupafu Olemba Bayo, ambaye yeye hataki kujua wewe ni wa clan gani. Unajua Wamasai tumeingiwa na kitu virus ingine inaitwa clanism. Wewe ni wa boma gani, ni wa nyumba gani, ni wa kishomi gani, Rokiteng, Odomongi, para. Bwana Mbabayo yeye alikuwa hajali wewe ni wa kabila, ni mrengo gani. Mpigie makofi. True Kenyan.
Huyu chief ambaye tumekuja kumtawasa leo, nataka muelewe hivi. Huyu chief amefanya kazi kwa njia ya kipekee na amefanya kazi kwa njia ya kujitolea. Wakati tulikuwa na shida kati ya mpaka wetu hapa na Kiambu, huyu chief alifanya kazi ya kipekee, na kwa sababu ya heshima aliyoonyesha wakati huo anastahili kuwa promoted, na tukaamua kwamba apandishwe madaraka awe senior principal chief. Na nimekuja hapa leo kwa sababu nataka kuhakikishia wafanyakazi wa serikali, hasa machifu, ukifanya kazi kwa bidii na ukifanya kazi kwa njia ya kipekee kama huyu mzee tunayemtawasa leo, watu wote wataona na sisi sote tutaona, tutakupandisha madaraka. Kwa sababu huyu mzee amekuwa kielelezo chema na amekuwa mzee ambaye anaonyesha hakika kwamba anaelewa kazi ile ambayo inatakiwa kufanywa.
Wilson Olemba Bayo, senior chief, senior principal chief, makofi. Nishori origala
At least 200 students from Cambridge College in Eldoret will not sit for their NEC examination because they are not registered. The angry students claimed they paid exam fees only to learn later that they were not registered as candidates by the examination body. However, the students are accusing the management for failing them, only for the management to claim they are equally shocked since they had put in place necessary measures, as Dolly Murigi tells us.
The fate of students failing to sit for the national examination has been a nightmare for quite a number of students every year. And as for some affected students, they have been preparing for the examination only to realize were not enrolled for exams. In Eldoret town at Cambridge College, more than 200 students are up in arms after learning they have not been registered for the NEC exams despite having paid for registration. They arrived at the institution ready for the NEC exams only for them to receive the frustrating information. Kitale and Turkana campuses of Cambridge Universal College have also been affected. However, the students could not hold back their frustrations, calling on the government and the Ministry of Education to come to their aid.
Leo asubuhi tumekuja prepared for our NEC exams. Tumeambiwa we are not registered. We have to go back home. Ati hatuyuko registered and yet we have paid our money. Serikali tunaomba muingilie kati.
Tuanze mtihani, tumeambiwa ati shule wali delay ku register. Before hata hivyo wangetuambia exams haikurejistiwa ndio ikuwe mapema tuone hivyo, but wao wameona kama nisikia leo ndio wanatuambia eti shule ilidelay.
The management, however, says they were equally shocked to learn that the exams had not been sent since they had put in place necessary measures for students to sit for exams despite late registration.
Today I was the first person in the compound. We prepared the room, we prepared the venue for these students to sit their exams. But later, my colleague, when he went to the container, he informed me that our exams were not there. That he has been informed that our exams were not there. So it was a bit baffling.
This is not the first time students at the institution have found themselves in such a situation.
We were forced to hold a crisis meeting in my office to see on what will happen to our students, because we always put their welfare at heart.
Dolly Mirigi, Hope TV, Newswatch.
Quite unfortunate. Thank you, Dolly, for that report. Now, 42-year-old Mary Nyawera could not hide her joy when she spoke from her hospital bed at the Nyeri County Referral Hospital. For the last 20 years, Nyawera has lived with fistula, a condition she developed after giving birth to her first child. Nyawera is one of the 60 women from Nyeri and other neighboring counties who are targeted by the free medical camp that was aimed at supporting women with obstetric fistula and provide free corrective surgery. The one-week camp, which started first last week on Thursday with the screening of beneficiaries, is joint collaboration between Safaricom M-Pesa Foundation and Flying Doctors Society of Africa, who are funding the surgeries and providing medical supplies. Kenya records between 1,000 to 3,000 cases of fistula annually, but only 7.5% have access to treatment for the condition, with cost as a major deterrent.
Sikuwa nikijua miaka ya hiyo mbele, sikuwa nikijua ni ugonjwa, lakini nikizaa mtoto wa tatu nikasikia kunayo, lakini hawa walikuwa mbali sana, walikuwa Kenyatta. Sasa nikijipanga nikaona siendi huko. Sasa nikasema nikae na shida, nisikilize kwa radio ama kwa TV, nione ama watakuja karibu. Mimi nilikuwa kwanza kutengenezwa kwa sababu nimekuja siku ya kwanza. Nimesema nikuja siku ya kwanza kwa sababu nikikuja kama hiyo 2019 siku ya mwisho sitatibiwa, lakini nimetibiwa kwa sababu nimekuja siku ya kwanza, wakanishughulikia, wakaona niko nayo, na sasa mimi nimetibiwa.
We target to do operation about 60 women this week, and we are already almost halfway there. The women that we have screened, and every day we are doing about 7 to 10 operations, and we'll be able to reach our target. So this is a problem that is in the community, and we urge our women, anyone who has urine-related issues or passing stool issues, either that came during delivery or any other time, to come to our hospital, County Referral Hospital, Nyeri County Referral Hospital, and get screened, and if they need be, they'll be operated for free, and they get well and be able to integrate back to the community.
We aim to eradicate fistula by 2030 because I think there was a commitment that was made at the ICPD 25 in which the president made a commitment towards the country actually eradicating obstetric fistula. So as an entity, as an organization, we're really passionate about changing lives. And today, one of the women in the ward told us that fistula work is actually God's work. Because even the surgeons who actually do this work do it out of passion, because the amount of money that a woman would have to pay if she was to go to a private hospital or to go to a hospital would actually be much more than she can afford.
A noble initiative indeed. Now, Gesabako, one of the oldest primary schools in Masaba South Sub-County, is reportedly in a deplorable condition in terms of facilities. Its buildings are in a dire state of fixing and inconvenience learners in ECDE and lower primary classes, according to the Board of Management Chairman Kennedy Mshira. Congestion stood out conspicuously as the most urgent matter to be tackled, with parents and school managers appealing for assistance. Mishira, who spoke at Gasabakwa village of Nyaribari Masaba constituency, singled out the ECDE class as one of the most affected and petitioned the education stakeholders to intervene.
Kwa machengo ni mabaya. Kwa sababu ndio hiyo sasa tuliangalia hata tumesaitisha upande wa CDF wametupa promise lakini haijafika. Kwa Ministry of Education ni tunataka pia watusaidie kwa sababu wana uwezo ya kuabloch yani mpunga yuko uwanjani hata mzie yuko uwanjani hata sikumwabloch amwelekeze usule yetu ndio atuwasaidie.
Tuko na shida. Moja ni ile classrooms ya watoto ECD hatuna, madarasa hakuna kabisa, na tukiingia katika area nyingine Gesabako primary staff rooms hatuna. Mvua ikinyesha walimu wananyeshewa. Kwa kusema ukweli, wale ambao wameamua kusaidia Gesabako primary kwa upana, kwa kusema ukweli watusaidie, kwa maana Gesabako primary hata na wewe tukiangalia kwa upana Gesabako primary haina chochote.
Ukiangalia madarasa ya ECD yamepomoka. Shule yenyewe hata ukiangalia staff room hakuna, ni ya mabati, sio kama shule ya modern. Ukiangalia nyumba ya walimu ni kama imeporomoka kila mahali. Ukienda kwa madarasa yote ni yale yalijengwa kitambo. Kwa hivyo tunaimisha kama kuna yeyote ambaye ataweza shughulikia hii shule ainue, angalau tupate watoto wetu wapate elimu ya kutosha. Juu elimu ndio ngao ya siku zijazo.
Let's move on to international news. Ethiopia's Olympic heroes Haile Gebrselassie and Fela Lilesa say they are ready to go to the front line in the war against rebel forces. The announcement comes after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said he would go to the front to lead the war. Tigrayan rebels say they are advancing towards the capital Addis Ababa. Germany and France have become the latest countries to advise their citizens to leave Ethiopia amid an escalation in the civil war on Tuesday. U.S. envoy to the region, Jeffrey Feltman, warned that the tentative diplomatic progress towards ending the conflict was being jeopardized by alarming developments on the ground. The rebels earlier this week claimed that they had taken control of Shewarobit, a town about 225 kilometers northeast of Addis Ababa.
Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship, only on Extended Worship.
Welcome back. Let's look at international news. Ethiopian Olympic heroes Haile Gebrselassie and Fela Lilesa say they are ready to go to the front line in the war against rebel forces. The announcement comes after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said he would go to the front to lead the war. Tigrayan rebels say they are advancing towards the capital Addis Ababa. Germany and France have become the latest countries to advise their citizens to leave Ethiopia amid an escalation in the civil war. On Tuesday, U.S. envoy to the region, Jeffrey Feltman, warned that tentative diplomatic progress towards ending the conflict was being jeopardized by alarming developments on the ground. The rebels earlier this week claimed that they had taken control of Shewarobit, a town about 225 kilometers northeast of Addis Ababa. And Magdalena Andersson has been approved by Sweden's parliament as the country's first ever female prime minister after replacing Stefan Löfven as leader of the center-left Social Democrats. Sweden is the only Nordic country ever to have elected a woman as a national leader before. Ms. Andersson, who's currently finance minister, was elected because under Swedish law, she only needed a majority of MPs not to vote against her. 100 years after Swedish women were given the vote, the 54-year-old Social Democrat leader was given a standing ovation by sections of the parliament. Her election at the head of a minority government followed on an 11-hour deal with the opposition Left Party in exchange for higher pensions for many Swedes. She also secured the support of coalition partner, the Greens, as well as the Centre Party. And in business, Family Bank has today unveiled a series of prepaid cards targeting, among others, the youth and traders in the ever-growing e-commerce trade with China, allowing customers to transact in multiple currencies, including the yen. The multi-currency Forex card will allow traders, travelers, diaspora, and business community to load multiple currencies in USD, GBP, yuan, and euro on a single and accessible international and benefit from features such as waived off ATM access fee, withdrawals, zero cross-currency charges, get insurance against unauthorized transactions on the card, and access to lower transaction charges than international credit or debit cards. At the launch event held at Daystar University dubbed Beba Uzito campaign, Family Bank also unveiled students' prepaid cards and youth cards. The student cards target preteens and teenagers and will allow their parents to help them learn the saving culture through trackable spending. The youth card, on the other hand, targets tech-savvy youth aged between 18 to 25 years.
The card is connected to the mobile, and we run through the entire life cycle of technology, as you can see there. From cards to processing, basically. We support multiple institutions across Africa, and we are proud today to sit here with you to say that we are here with you towards the future. So that is it. That's what we do as Masria. So we have offices in Cairo as our head office. I represent the African office based here in Nairobi. Opportunities of digitalizations are here with us. And we are promising our partners today, including the university fraternity, that challenge us, and we will always have a solution for you for the future around the youth.
Challenge. The Family Bank Visa prepaid cards are convenient as they work within the existing payment ecosystem. The cards will not only enable you load funds, but will also help you make payments at any 61 million merchants in over 200 countries throughout Visa's global network, allowing you to transact in multiple currencies.
E-commerce, as everybody knows, has taken roots in Kenya. We all are using various platforms to make payments. Security of those payment platforms has been a major concern in the past. So how about a prepaid card that is not linked to your bank, where you're not worried about the security of your main bank account in event that there's any fraud around your card? Now, when we talk about the ability to pay in yuan, a lot of Kenyan traders do business with China. So how about you're able to preload your card and pay for the goods on an e-commerce platform in China? So I think for us, this is revolutionary as Family Bank, being able to offer all these 4 currencies. I believe the first of the multi-currency cards to be able to offer those options to yourself.
NCBA Group PLC has posted a profit before tax, that is PBT, of 11.1 billion Kenya shillings in its Q3 results ending September 30th, 2021. The PBT of 11.1 billion Kenya shillings is a 3-fold increase compared to 3.8 billion Kenya shillings reported during a similar period last year. The group registered a 9-month profit after tax of 6.5 billion Kenya shillings, representing 159% growth, up from 2.5 billion Kenya shillings reported in a similar period in 2020. Growth in profitability was attributed to an increase in operating income to 36 billion Kenya shillings, driven by higher customer activity, and a decline in loan impairment charges of 4.2 billion Kenya shillings year after year. Commenting on the results, NCBA Group Managing Director John Gashora said the strong financial results are early outcomes of the group's focus on its strategic initiatives anchored on customer experience and on a steadily improving economic environment.
The good news is that we reached very good results, came in at 11.1 billion profit before tax. And that is a 3-fold increase from where we were last year this time. So last year this time, we reported profits of 3.8 billion. So this is a 3-fold increase to where we reported last year. Our profit after tax will be reporting 6.5 billion Kenya shillings for the group. Again, really good growth from where we were last year to 2.5 billion. So it's all good news. It's all good news. Our deposits closed up 11% at 447 billion versus 403 billion that we reported at the same time last year. We're close to 60 million customers that we're touching through a digital banking proposition. And these are people who depend on us for survival. I think you have seen the numbers that we are disbursing. As of September, we had disbursed 423 billion through our digital channels. And that's a significant growth to where we were last year, where we were at about 311 billion.
To some last night's UEFA Champions League results, Chelsea booked their place in the Champions League last 16 as Trevoh Chalobah's controversial goal put the holders on course for an imperious 4-0 rout of Juventus. Juventus never recovered from that blow as Reece James, Callum Hudson-Odoi and Timo Werner struck after halftime to send Chelsea to the top of Group H. Elsewhere, late goals from Cristiano Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho were enough to earn an underwhelming Manchester United a 2-0 victory at Villarreal that guarantees them a spot in the knockout stages. In another fixture of the night, Bayern Munich, missing half a dozen players to COVID-19 quarantine, edged past Dynamo Kyiv 2-1 to secure top spot in Group E with a game to spare. And finally, Benfica held Barcelona to a scoreless draw, meaning that the second team to qualify for the round of 16 from Group E behind Bayern Munich will be decided in the final game of the group stage. And the action continues tonight at Manchester City as Manchester City welcome PSG to the Etihad Stadium at Ayak. Will be looking to maintain their 100% record when they travel to Istanbul to face Group C's basement club Besiktas. Elsewhere, Inter Milan could have one more step closer to the last 16 if they can beat already eliminated Shakhtar Donetsk at Club Brugge. Play host to RB Leipzig in Group A clash. Meanwhile, two giants of the European game battle at the Wanda Metropolitano as Atletico Madrid, I beg your pardon, meet AC Milan in Group B at Sheriff Transpol, face 13-time champions Real Madrid. And finally, two sides battling it out for second place in Group C will lock horns tonight as Sporting Lisbon welcome Borussia Dortmund to the Estadio Jose Elverde for their penultimate Champions League group stage clash as Liverpool welcome Porto to Anfield for Group B. And this is where we wrap up Newswatch tonight. Thank you for your valuable company. I'm Tess Njenga and my sign language interpreter is Boniface Mureithi. Have a good night and be blessed.